Hi, so today we're gonna look at cultivating vegetables in a climate, in a Mediterranean climate and on clay-like soil. So, so we will look at different species like potatoes, garlic, watercress, board beans, and basil. Broad beans, sorry, and basil. And we will analyze this with different columns, looking at the soil, the seeds, parasites, and the technical aspects. So we will screen all that with these categories. So if we look at clay-like, if we look at the soil uniquely, let's see how we can cultivate these things in a Mediterranean weather. To start with, I would like to show you my potatoes on this soil. So these are potato leaves, as you can see, and they have grown quite a bit. We will look at this more in detail later. You can see the color of the ground, and you can see garlic next to it, rather advanced. And here you can see the garlic sprouting at an earlier stage. So to start with, let's look at the soil. What I have here is a soil I didn't pick. It's not the worst one, but it's a clay-like soil. So, and the problem with some species like tomatoes is that this soil is too dense. So it gives small sizes for the harvest, and we get the exact same problem with garlic. I had no problem with watercress on this soil because watercress only needs a support, and if you don't plant the seed too deep, but rather close to the surface, then you will not have a problem of the plant fighting to get its way out, and it's not a plant that produces its fruit or seeds below the ground, so it will not fight against the density of the soil. And later on we can see that I tried with broad beans and they do sprout quite well, and basil has its way on this type of soil, no problem. But what's the main recommendation if we look at clay-like soil? Do not use sand. Do not mix the soil with sand. This is a blasphemy. You're just destroying a soil with unique qualities. But rather use organic materials that you will mix with the soil to make it denser, and while maintaining a good balance between carbon and nitrogen. So that's very important. Also, do not put hypercaloric materials in the soil to avoid the multiplication of the slugs, because they love some materials and they can really multiply too easily. So let's move next to the seeds. You know, it's easy to look at the weather, to look at the soil, to look at the parasites, but at the end of the day, if your seeds are crap, you will get crap. So for potatoes, I used potatoes from the market, so they were not designed as base seeds, and I assume they're probably F1 generation hybrid F1, or maybe F2, which would make them very bad. And that's partially the reason why I had harvest with small size potatoes. I'd had some potatoes with decent sizes, even big sizes, but I'm talking about the distribution of the size. Moving to garlic, my garlic was also bought in the market. It was probably generation F2, hybrid F2, and as such, it had poor qualities, and even with the best surrounding condition, the best milieu, I would not have gotten something much greater than what I got. the final result was not much bigger than what I planted. And for watercress, I had very good quality seeds. I had F0 non-hybrided variant, and that's where I got the best harvest. So moving to broad beans, it was also generation F2, so it was struggling a lot. I had only 2 sprouting out of 10, but that's because I dried the beans too much. And for those who managed to sprout, well, they grew up decently, but they didn't produce many seeds. And for the basil was naturally there. It's original basil. There was no problem with it. So my final recommendation for all of this, use F0 seeds, or if you just want a good harvest for the first year, use F1 hybrid, but nothing less efficient, or nothing from further generations. Let's move to parasites. On potatoes, my main problem and almost my only problem was the slugs. And the slugs ate 1/3 of my production. So there are some measures to be taken against it. Think that I grew up everything organically, no pesticides the first year. So now I see what causes a problem and what doesn't cause a problem. I'm not using excess of pesticide as such. First year I'm growing everything organically, so I'm identifying what are the parasites that cause a problem. For garlic, I had no problem. Garlic has this ability to repel most of the parasites. Even the leaves had no major disease, nothing really visible, just the leaves getting a bit yellow at the end, but that was the drought. And the watercress had almost no problem, except some butterflies do like to lay their eggs on them, but it's just concerning 2 plants out of 15. And you can identify it when you're gardening at a low scale, so it's easy to get rid of those manually. So my recommendation overall would be simply to use wooden boards when you cultivating potatoes and you have slugs in your garden, because then you would avoid using pesticides, and these slugs, they like to go under them because it's more moist, more wet, and it's dark, and you can just open the board, remove them manually, do that several times before you plant your potatoes, and that's very efficient. You can also do it throughout. Now, if you want to use pesticides and you prefer to use these so-called biopesticides, I would recommend using iron sulfate, but only use it the first 4 years, because then it gets too toxic. And also, eventually don't use it at all, because if you have some animals, small animals that you take care of in your garden and you don't want them to ingest this iron sulfate, it's better to avoid it. I have turtles and I don't want them to eat some of it. So let's move to the technical aspect, more general technical aspect. When you grow potatoes, you're asked to put a mound of soil, of earth, around the potato main branch. And I did it, but I didn't do it a second time. And by not doing that, I probably lost some production, maybe 25% production or more. So maybe by having the main branch lying on the floor without breaking it, I could have put some more soil on it, so in order to get more production. Now you don't necessarily need to have it lying on the ground. Some people use tires and they fill it gradually with the soil, or they use wooden boards and they fill it gradually as it grows. You can easily have significantly increased production doing that. Now for the garlic, I myself had planted my garlic too deep, so don't plant it deeper than 1 inch. or use potting soil. Just dip it a bit and use potting soil on top to cover it, or loose soil if you don't have potting soil. One last indication regarding garlic. I personally grew violet garlic and red garlic in January. If you use the autumn season species, take advantage of the 2 resting months of autumn, because it's important that before sprouting the plant rests a bit. It will help it having a good production in harvest time. For the broad beans, don't water over the leaves, because that will bring diseases, and it appears in the form of your leaves getting grayish or dark, and that's probably some disease. It might be them just rotting, but I think it was a specific disease, a bacteria or virus, something of that kind. And for the basil, if you want to grow them, let nature do the work. In Mediterranean countries, we have basils that layer itself, so you don't have to do the job, and it does it better than you would do it. So let the nature do its business. So now we can conclude more on the general Mediterranean weather. If you have books that indicates seeding seasons and harvest seasons in Western, oceanic, or continental climates, try to use this reference and subtract 2 months. Plant your seeds or your plants 2 months earlier than what is indicated, in order to plant it between October and April. So between October and April, because these are in Mediterranean climates, the season where you can get good rainwater availability between October and April. I should actually restrict it and say between October and March, because April, it's a bit uncertain when you get the rain. So on this note, I want to show you a last time my potatoes. As you see, I have put a first mound but not a second mound, so they had a tendency to grow very high with a lot of leaves. Some people told me I had too much leaves and maybe not enough potatoes. And look at the color of this ground. Look at the garlic and the color of this ground. This clay soil ground, it absorbs the water very quickly. But when the rain ceases, it drains out very quickly as well. So you have to take that into account when you optimize your production. On this note, thank you for attending, and see you, lads. Bye bye.